again with How to DAO. Today it's me, Punkar, and my co-author for How to DAO book, Kevin Aoki. And we will be talking about DAOs as always. But today has some special twist. We actually started our own DAO. So we started the How to DAO DAO. Maybe can call it shortly just How to DAO. And it's live now. We partner with QAC on the launch of the DAO. We are like 3 days in, and we are still figuring out, obviously, but like we are really excited about the future and what it can bring because we didn't write the book to not be a DAO. We want to do this ourselves. We want to make sure that like what we are preaching, we are doing. And another aspects of it, and another note here, it's like we also finished our cohort number 2 course, which also became a DAO. So there is so many DAOs actually coming out of How to DAO, which is super exciting. And we just want to talk about DAOs. So Kevin, thank you for coming on this live stream. Tell me, why are you excited about DAOs these days? Like, what do you think like DAOs can bring? Is there anything like new you might have recently read or saw?
Yeah, Punkar. Yeah, excited for this conversation and excited about How to DAO, the book that you and I wrote that was distributed through Penguin Random House and has been sold hundreds of copies so far. So, I think that the subtitle of the book is Mastering the Future of Internet Coordination. And I think that there's an opportunity here to help people become more digitally native, to help them earn across borders, to help them get involved in communities and have stake in each other's projects. And that's the design space of DAOs and the promise that I see in a world that's increasingly global and there's disruptive trends like AI happening. I think that the ability to co-own and share property and have property rights on the internet is going to be pretty huge. And so we're exploring these design spaces. I've obviously had an experience launching a DAO before with Gitcoin, and there's been some wins there and some losses there. And the goal is to tell people how to get to the frontier and how to survive and thrive and be sovereign in the frontier. And I think that this is our generation's frontier. Our parents' generation went west and had buying real estate in California as their means of getting ahead financially. And I think that for us, the frontier is the internet, and I think that DAOs are going to be an important vehicle for that. And so it's just about teaching people how to survive and thrive and be happy in the frontier. And that's what How to DAO is all about for me. And I think that we wouldn't be practicing what we preach if we didn't make How to DAO a DAO in itself. The How to DAO is going to be an exciting place where we can partner with people to teach in a DAO native way how to do DAOs. So there's a little bit of an Ouroboros here, teaching how to DAO in a DAO native way.
Yeah, exactly. And like, we want to keep the community going and we want to use the How to DAO basically to keep them engaged and maybe the students become a teacher, because like that's how it can work in the community, which we really stay together, learn from each other, and then getting other people into it. So this time we funded the DAO from the course with $1,600, but like the next cohort will be probably funded without DAO through our DAO. So How to DAO token will be funding other DAOs, which will be basically popping up out of our courses and incubation program. So we are basically making sure that the ecosystem is supported and other builders which want to try it actually can. And I think Kevin, this is something what you've been in the space longer than I, and we also put it in the book, like the importance of trying things. And like you might fail, like the original DAO actually failed, but we learned tons of it. So like what do you think about that kind of concept, like actually trying things, maybe like learning from it and then make it better?
Yeah, I think that one of the most important parts of learning how to DAO is not just learning from the book, is not just book knowledge, it's actually practicing. To me, DAOs are kind of like riding a bike where you can read about all the theories of physics and you can read about the theories of motion, but until your own muscles are the ones that are pumping energy into the machine and you're at the steering wheel, then you haven't fully ridden a bike before, understanding, having the lived experience of riding a bike. And to me, DAOs are exactly the same insofar as that when you get embedded into a community and you learn how to work in this way, there's a handful of best practices that we hope that you'll follow. Similar to riding a bike, where you want to make sure that you have a good sense of your speed and where you're going, and making sure that you don't crash. Actually, I have this visceral moment of my father teaching me to ride a bike and me crashing into something and being so pissed, and realizing that, oh, I control the motion of this vehicle. With DAOs, I think it's important um, to have a charter, a mission that you're pursuing together, to have a mapped out theory of change of how you're going to pursue it, to have basically a model, a business model that you're going to work with, and to do it with people that you like, because these things are work, and they go a lot faster when you're hanging out with people that you like. So um, I think with how to DAO, it's a little bit meta because we're going to be a DAO ourselves, but we're going to be teaching people how to DAO. And I think that we've already accomplished, our North Star is teaching more people how to survive and thrive and be sovereign in the internet frontier. And you and I had a business relationship and friendship before this. So I have confidence that we have like a cultural tone and a friendship that we can build this off of. And, I think that the model for this is going to be about onboarding people and running educational cohorts that teach people how to DAO. And I'm really excited to see what all of the people that we teach how to DAO end up doing in the space. And if they end up being innovators, then I think that that's going to be like my goal is well, so with Gitcoin, people come up to me and they're like, Gitcoin gave me my start in Web3. Thank you for that bounty payment in 2018. It like really moved me along. Like my goal for this is that in 3 or 4 years, people come up to me at an ETH conference and say, wow, how to DAO really brought me down the rabbit hole in a way that was responsible and helped me find the upside that of what I'm doing now. And so my goal is people, alumni of how to DAO, saying that it really helped them on their journey, and hopefully we'll make a profitable or at least revenue generating business doing education along the way.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what I was thinking. And like when you were talking about the bike ride, I remembered like I got like probably it was my second bike. It was like bigger, you have like the brakes on not like that you brake with your foot, but with your hands. Like, it's the bigger bike. And then so I got it, but nobody explained to me how to actually brake with my hands, because I was used to just braking with my foot, like because it was smaller bike. So that, and then I went downhill and just like couldn't stop. But fortunately, there was like our family friend, who catched me. So
Yeah.
like that's kind of like how you are thinking about co-founders as well. Like sometimes like you go this direction and you are super excited about it, but you forget something. And then like you have the co-founder which you kind of like work with, and they are like, hey, we might want to do this. And like I think like this kind of knowledge and like alignment is super important, not just in the house but any business. And with how to DAO, we are just growing it. So we started as two of us, and now we are getting more people basically become these members of this DAO and started new things. We have Gideon Peters, who is helping me teaching the courses, and like he's very experience in teaching and agile methodology and a little bit of DAOs. And like that's kind of the new thinking which we needed to actually make this very hands-on experience and very practical experience. And I'm also excited like bringing more people basically on board, and getting more kind of sub DAOs within How to DAO, like where we can do more than the courses, or more different courses as well. So Kevin, like we talk about it a little bit, like what sub DAOs you would be most excited within How to DAO? What do you think? Like we are like maybe not having right now, but it would be super cool if someone comes and say, hey, I might be super interested like doing this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the core function that we've talked about is education, and bring people on to cohorts in which we're basically just teaching them how to DAO. So I think that having curriculum being provided by that educational DAO, having the actual operations of the course is going to be the first thing. But from there, I think that having sort of like an once we have an alumni network, having that be managed, maybe that's like that would be like a sub DAO or a side DAO to how to DAO. And then I think that the other thing that we're interested in doing is incubating people's entrepreneurial ventures and helping them launch projects in the frontier. And so we've talked about an incubation DAO. But the one thing that I think is really beautiful about DAOs is that with sub DAOs and side DAOs, you don't really always have to invent your own. There's lots of opportunities to partner with other ecosystems and other DAOs. And so, behind me, I've got the Gitcoin logo, I've got the Allo logo, I've got Green Pill, and I'm gonna have to get an LED for How to DAO actually if I'm gonna keep doing these podcasts. But there's an emergent DAO of DAOs that I see where everything sort of interoperates with each other. And one of the things that I think would be really cool is, as Green Pill's on its DAO journey, Gitcoin's 4 years into its DAO journey. Allo, I think we're kind of calling in proto DAO stage right now. But like, what is the way in which How to DAO and its sister DAOs and side DAOs and sub DAOs can sort of form a mesh network of emergent coordination where resources are moved amongst each other. And I see a positive sum game where How to DAO is pulling more talent into the ecosystem, and maybe it's there's some sort of transference between the other DAOs that we're involved with that's going to happen there. So that's a long way of saying that not every side DAO of How to DAO will be like invented around How to DAO as the mother DAO. I think it becomes a little bit more pluralistic and I want to say the word polyamorous, but that sounds kind of funny to talk about with DAOs.
Sounds very
But
San Francisco of you.
well, you're the guy in the tie dye shirt. I just think DAOs should be polyamorous. That's all. But yeah, what I'll flip the question back on you. What do you imagine will evolve around side DAOs for How to DAO?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited basically about like the ideas which can pop up and we can support them. So I think that's like where the DAO is playing really important role. Like we can like fund things in the ecosystem, and then like the ecosystem can kind of give back to the DAO, just like as the movement is growing. So what I was thinking is like, yeah, we published the book, but there are so many other thought leaders we can bring in, and we can like evangelize them, or like we can support them in their own writing, in their own experiments, so we can provide the content to the audience and make sure that they are like seen and supported. They know, so like something like a media kind of arm would be definitely very very useful. And I think what you said resonates with me a lot, like the kind of DAO incubation program. Like we call it also like DAO Academy, because it's like the combination, like where the book gives you the inspiration, the basics, like, hey, this is DAO, so you should consider for your next venture being a DAO, and this is why. And then we have the course, so you already know why. This is how. Like build it with the other students in the cohort, create relationships. Maybe you fund your co-founder there. This is kind of crazy, but like we pulled together for 5 weeks, 6 weeks. We had 1 week off. 6 weeks, 40 people from different parts of the world, from different areas, and that 40 become like 30 people who are now running the community connected DAO, connected community DAO, and they are actually super excited to create a change in the world. So they found it's like a thing which kind of connects them. And there was some like 10 people maybe not that interested, but like that's 30 people who find something which interests them all, and they will be working on it further. And that's something what I want be happening every single time. Maybe next time will be two different apps. There will be one idea here, one idea there, and then like the cohort split and do that. So as you are saying, like we might not prescribe like what needs to be happening and how it should be supporting how to DAO. It's not the purpose. We just want to support the creation of new entrepreneurs which are using DAOs as the vehicle to actually get out there and succeed. Uh, so this is definitely what I would like to support as much as I can. And us being a DAO gives us the ability to like you know keep the people in who are already part of it, and then those people who succeeded can like support the new builders. Basically, as I said at the beginning, like the student become the teacher. The person who got the support at the beginning can support other builders, and that's how I see world in general. I think like I read recently the book Give or Take from Adam Grant, and long story short, the givers are on both sides of the spectrum. They're the most successful people in the world are givers, and the least successful people are givers as well. And then the takers and like some other mixed are in the middle. And I feel like if we are all givers and we are just creating this ecosystem, that was the kind of the part when the givers were really successful. They are creating the ecosystem where people support each other and give back to each other. They are not just giving, but like supporting each other. And that's what I want to create, just like in this ecosystem. I want to support the builders, and the builders can support the movement overall. On the broader side, so I think I talk a little bit too much. On the broader side, like we already saw many DAOs, being created in the ecosystem. Like, what was the last year of DAOs for you, like Kevin? Like, what have you seen as the like core innovation? Why you think now it's the right time to actually get other people from non-crypto, like to start considering DAO and building the kind of internet native organizations?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the last year for me has been about the evolution of DAOs from their 2021 definition to their 2025 definition. So, anyone who's followed my work knows that I see these things in evolutionary terms. There was the DAO, which grew big and then imploded, and now it's sort of like a historical artifact or like a lesson. I think that in 2021 there was a crop of DAOs that launched, everything from service DAOs to social DAOs to investment DAOs to protocol DAOs, impact DAOs. I consider Gitcoin to be sort of like an impact DAO. Service DAO had a shot at being a protocol DAO, but I'm not sure that's going to work. And so I think that these things happen in cycles where you see these Cambrian explosions of new opportunity and potential, and then 99% doesn't work or 90 doesn't work. It kind of just depends on the cycle. But I think that for me, 2024 has been a lot about death of what isn't working. And I was at an event that was organized by a DAO where they literally had a funeral for their mascot because they were departing with what didn't work. And I think that death is a part of life, is a part of renewal. Death in the composting of the old makes room for the new. And so to actually answer your question, I think that we're seeing the death of 2021 era DAOs, or like a lot of different 2021 era DAOs. This was actually a big week at Gitcoin. We actually announced a big change at Gitcoin to drastically reduce our burn and to increase um, to increase our optionality for the future because the burn was so much less. And so it's been a cycle of turnover. And so I think that where we're going is 2025 era DAOs. And so I actually wrote this article called 69 Trends in 2025 era DAO Design. But I think that AI in DAOs is going to be a really interesting design space. I think on chain capital allocation and DAOs is going to be a really interesting design space. Programmatic liquidity, quadratic funding, and bonding curves. Obviously, How to DAO is doing QAC right now, and we can get into that a little bit later in the live stream. But basically, I think that we're seeing a renewal, the composting of 2021 era DAOs, and that's going to lead to 2025 era DAO designs. And I think that I think with DAOs, my take is that we need to let them cook. We just sort of look at LLCs and corporations and we say, "Wow, they work so well. They've really reached their niche in the design space of human organization." But keep in mind that organizations, corporations have been cooking for 300 years, since the East India Corporation was the first corporation. And 50 years ago we invented the LLC, and 10 years ago we invented the B Corp. And so I think that with DAOs, they're not all that useful yet in their current form, with a couple exceptions. And then, but they're going to keep evolving until we get to a form that really feels very powerful and profound for the world. So, um, yeah, let's see what happens in the 2025 cycle. But I'm excited to see what kind of new DAO designs come out of the next couple years.
That's super cool. Yeah, I think the design 2021 DAOs, like they were hyped a lot, but they might not have the fundamentals. I think today there is the time for the fundamentals. Like build a DAO like a company, build a DAO like a startup, build a DAO as a community. That's fine, but like there is no outside hype anymore. It's like this is working because of that. This is will be successful because of this, or like we believe this will be successful because of that. Like taking it as a startups kind of. I live in San Francisco. Uh, so many startups out there. As you said, 90% probably will die. Maybe 95% will die. But like they are not like hyping. They definitely like hyping, but there are some fundamentals they are trying. Like this might be like the change for supply chain, or this might be the biggest revolution for healthcare. Like actual real problems, try to solve them. And I think that's where DAOs will now play the place on the global scale, because many of those startups I feel are very locally focused. They live in their bubble. I think where DAOs can also make a lot of sense. It's like, okay, we have a global warming issue. This is not something you can solve in San Francisco or in Tokyo or something. That's something you need to scale with like everyone involved everywhere in the world. And DAOs can play very good role because they can onboard from everywhere and really create this network where people support the common cause. uh, Other examples can be like like where I feel like the fundamentals matter. It's like you know the DeFi space and all this like meme coins. Like I think people are tired of it. We don't want any other meme coin cycle. We want cycle of like things that make our life better. And you also mentioned AI. AI is already making our life better, but it's like how we can scale it and how we can bring it to other people, how we can like incorporate it in our organizations and in our daily life. And that's where like DAOs can also play a role. So we published our first article actually on Twitter because we became verified organization on Tuesday. So we are now publishing articles as well there. We have golden badge because that's what you get if you pay $200 a month, uh, and that's probably the only thing why you are verified, that you are actually pay. But like that's fine. That was just a side note. And the first article there, it's about the AI and like how DAOs can actually support the adoption of AI within organizations, because they are inherently internet native, they are inherently digital. And like if you want the AI to like be controlled, like you can do it with smart contracts. You can basically own how they use the credits with like wallets and stuff. Like, and you can also like let the AI or AI agent work across the ecosystem, and they just get paid through blockchain and execute tasks for different organizations. So like that's something which is very hard to do for like traditional organizations, which like they would have harder time to onboard it. They would have harder time to how we can actually pay for this very flexibly if we need to switch to different. But we are here right now where like everything is digital, and we can basically create teams where it's the blend of people and AIs working alongside each other. Uh, Given you mentioned that AI, but like, what's your kind of like biggest hope for AI? And if you get the chance, how DAOs you think like can play a role there?
I think AI and DAOs are extremely complementary. I think that crypto provides a credibly neutral, decentralized substrate through which agents, human and AI and otherwise, can coordinate. And I think that AI is going to create super intelligences and agents that are as intelligent as humans, but don't have that that basically can work 24/7 or be online 24/7 and process information. And so um there are people who think that AIs will have bags and will hold wallets. I think some people have been experimenting with that. And so what does a world look like in which crypto is serving both humans and AIs? And I think that they provide complementary technologies to each other. So my hope is that DAOs of the future will be AI augmented. I know that AI 16Z and Eliza has been doing some work around how do we how do we make sure that people in DAOs have access to all the information of things that are happening in the DAO without having to check the governance forum and read every post or go through the Discord all the time. There's a real problem of information routing, and so we're immediately seeing AIs being applicable and writing you personalized roundups of things that are happening in your DAO. I think that we're also going to see more advanced use cases of AIs and DAOs, but I think it remains to see what the actual productive use cases are going to be. It feels like we're somewhere on the hype curve for what these things are going to be right now, and so we'll find out in the next couple of years. But I think that these things are really complementary to each other. So the world is moving forward, and I think the future is going to be driven by macro changes and also changes like AI and crypto starting to seep more and more into everyday institutions. And I think that my prediction is that 5 or 10 years from now, you're not going to have a crypto startup or an AI startup. You're just going to have a startup that happens to be powered by crypto or AI in the back. And just like how we don't think of anything like startups these days as like an internet startup, it's just like everything has the internet, everything has a website. I think that's what it's going to be like with crypto and AI in 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, I agree. Like, and I hope the other thing will be everything will be DAO. You're also not saying your startup is a C corp. Like nobody really cares.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope like in a couple of years, like every startup will be a DAO, and that's how it is. Like everyone wants to be on chain using the crypto, and definitely powered by AI. And you said like the improvements for DAOs, like with AI. I think that can be another sub DAO, like to another sub DAO. So like one which can like be developing these tools for DAOs, basically to operate autonomously, because that's in the DAO name. Like, be more autonomous using AI. Maybe you don't even need to read or get the information from the forum. Your AI just execute based on your consciousness, in a sense. And the second type of DAO, like fully AI DAO. Like I got the question yesterday. So I'm in Switzerland right now at like a Zuzalu event for a month, brainstorming the future of society and DAOs and network state. And one question I got last night was, what if there is some super successful DAO, and then you realize that it's fully run by AI? Would you be upset? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, Kevin, would you be upset if you realize that the DAO you really like has no humans involved?
I think it depends on what the DAO does. If it's something that's designed to provide care and like traditionally human things, I think that that sort of wrinkles my brain in a way that I want to investigate. I'm not even saying that I'm mad about it, but just that like it would pique my curiosity. But if I'm trading on Uniswap and the counterparty that I'm trading against is a DAO, we've already financialized AIs in TradFi. I don't see why it's any different in crypto. They're just faster and smarter than us. Of course, it's going to be trading with me. So I think the answer is it depends on what it's being used for. And if it's a traditionally human thing like care and caring for each other in community, that's where I start to wonder a little bit. But I think it's good to go into these things with a mindset of curiosity and not judgment.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I agree. Some like if you are preaching that like this is a human thing and you are actually executing it by AI, that's probably wrong. But I believe like the transparency, if everyone knows this is run by AI, everyone has the chance to do their own decision. Like I want to get the service from this fully AI DAO, or I don't. And yeah, I agree. Like the transparency is definitely important there, so what you are getting into. And to touch upon on the thing why we are here, the how to DAO launch. Uh, Maybe we can touch upon a little bit on how we are actually launching it. Because what we did is we partnered up with our friends from QAC. Justice was actually involved in how to DAO book during like bankless DAO times 3 years ago. Like we started like just brainstorming about it and like doing something about it. So and he was since very much supportive of this project and very involved in other DAOs. Griff Green is also kind of ecosystem friend. Probably you know Griff way longer than I. Also kind of public goods funding and doing different experiments with quadratic voting and funding. And the last and also Tamara joined them in that. So it was basically no brainer to go with them because we already like good friends. And as we discussed that at the beginning, like it's important to do business with people you can trust. Uh, and this is what I would definitely, if I can give you one suggestion, like if you want to launch a DAO, like do it with people you can trust, with ecosystem you trust, and also like with tools you can trust into. Because if the tool goes wrong or like there's some malicious smart contract, you will lose everything, and you don't want that. So like it's definitely good to choose the right people and right tools, including AI. And yeah, and like we launch with quadratic accelerator, and we are going through it. The token it's live. I will put in the show notes the link there. And how it works actually is there is a bonding curve, and the bonding curve is basically that like you can buy the token, and in 2 weeks now or 1.5 week, the amount of tokens we receive within the round compared to other projects within the round got matched by the pool of funds which were provided by Polygon, and then it gets like the liquidity pool, which get out there, and the token will be officially live. So when the bonding curve now is basically gathering the money and the interest, and then it goes live in about 2 weeks on the DEXs with the matching funds. Kevin, did you want to say something?
Uh, no, I don't think so. I mean, I think that like QAC is incredibly
I just
elegant.
heard some noise. Sorry. So I
Yeah,
paused.
I think QAC is incredibly elegant, and I'm excited to experiment with DAO native capital formation for actual how to DAO. So I think that like the long and short of it is that it's an experiment, but QAC's on its second cohort now, so it's not just like a pie in the sky experiment. The first cohort was very successful, so I'm excited to see how it goes.
Did you actually did the podcast with Grave after the first cohort? I'm not sure now.
Yeah, I've actually done on the Green Pill podcast. Griff and myself have sort of charted the growth and evolution of the Giveth and Gitcoin ecosystems together. So maybe we'll link in the show notes the a link to the episode that we did on QAC when he was. It was like a QAC was like a Griff fever dream, and then it was like they were launching the first cohort, and then after they did the first cohort, so I've been following it for a while, and it's a very elegant set of primitives, but um, I think that each of these DAOs and each of these tokens have their own risks. So don't put in more money than you can afford to lose, and also do your own research on each of these things. But I like what I see out of QAC so far.
Yeah, definitely. And you said like and you have a company or now like focusing on capital allocation. It's a great primitive for capital allocation. And how the bonding curve and the graduation from bonding curve actually works. Like the bonding curve is minting a token when you purchase it through it. But when it reaches $1 million, it will basically put all the money into the DAO treasury and then shut down the minting. So there is no more tokens mint after the fact, and then the DAO can basically use that to grow or support other projects within the ecosystem. And we think like this is like really a good thing because it's a slow moving thing. It's not like an hype thing, but it's like really like you check the fundamentals. If this project is really growing and like moving to the right direction, like then they get even more capital to actually like for their exponential grow. Like from that perspective, like capital allocation, like have you seen similar type of capital allocation primitive or something what it reminds you in the past, or do you think it's like a brand new?
Is QAC brand new, or is it like built on other primitives?
Like yeah, basically like the primitives. I think so. Basically, what I'm thinking here, like it's like they combine the right primitives together. So like my question is here, like, have you seen those primitives and how they work out in the past?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that QAC, I kind of think of it as a combination of quadratic funding and a token launch dashboard that a token launch dashboard, but with more care and feeding put into the different types of capital, and is such that the incentives of the early entrants and the later entrants are a little bit more aligned. And so, Griff has this whole spiel that he has about basically like making sure that there's lockups and that basically like the people who come in with QAC do I can't I can't summon my Griff energy to explain it, but it just feels like an elegant combination of quadratic funding and a token launchpad to me. So I'm excited to see how this can get How to DAO off the ground
Yeah,
and get more
exactly.
people involved in How to DAO.
And like yeah, the token kind of lock makes sense. Like why we also decided it's like we don't want to have like outsized gains or power in this DAO. So like we are actually locked for a year. So our tokens don't won't get unlocked till 1 year in of this launch, and then there is that's the cliff, and then the vesting starts. So like it's very much like we believe in this for the long term, and we want to prove it, and that's how we are positioning it with the QAG because they have the same vision for the future of DAOs and the future of companies, and we are very aligned on that. Uh, Also, one more thing, what we discussed already with QAG team is how we can combine our forces because like we are incubating DAO within How to DAO. QAG is launching them to the world. Like so, like I think there will be soon very much like you go to the course, you are going through the incubation, and then you are getting into QAC, so you can launch on it with your own basically token and everything to get support also from the outside. And that's the whole life cycle now. Like it's literally like you buy the book, you get to know what the DAOs are about, you get into the course, you learn how to do it, or what you'll be doing. You figure out what's the idea you want to work on. So you go through the incubation program to build it, and then QX will launch you to the world. So I think like this is something like I'm super excited about because like more entrepreneurs in the world means like there is more decentralization and more like capital allocation to like people that are actually working on the ground and like building very innovative stuff. It's less to like the corporation and big guys, which that's why I'm in crypto and I'm in DAOs. Like I want to support the little man in the sense, like who has the idea, who has the vision, but don't have the resources as a someone who is in like a big corporation. And with that, I believe we can make it happen. So that's how I see it. Kevin, we are kind of like on time very soon. Any last thoughts or questions on this one, on like how to DAO DAO?
I'm doing this because I believe that DAOs are a vehicle for internet coordination and that our generation's frontier is the internet. Um, I think that we have to be sovereign. We have to be responsible for ourselves when we're on the frontier. There is no nanny state to protect us. There is, there's starting to be primitives around mutual care and insurance, but you have to opt in and find those. And so I think that my main thing is I want people to be sovereign, but I also want them to see where the upside is in the frontier. I hope to be building a bridge between this frontier and people that want to go explore it. And I think before you get on that bridge, I think that um, you got to go through the how to DAO course and you got to learn how to be sovereign, how to take responsibility for yourself, and how to find the upside. And once you've done that, I think that there's a lot of risk adjusted, really interesting things that are in this frontier. So for me, it's just about evangelizing the technology and the opportunities that are available here, and this is all just an extension of that for me. Punkar, it's been really fun working with you on the book and now into this more practice oriented approach of teaching people how to do this. And I can't wait to see where it goes. It's another experiment, and I'm hopeful that we'll make lots of new friends, and that I'll get to have that moment that I've been fantasizing about in 3 or 4 years, where people are coming up to me not just to say Gitcoin has affected them in a positive way, but how to DAO has too. So that's the goal.
Well, it's a beautiful last words, and I hope the same. I hope this book will and the rest of the ecosystem will get you where you want to be. Like if you have a dream, I hope this will help you execute it. And well, I will see you on the next live stream or in the DAO now.
Thanks,
Good
Punkar.
one.
Bye. How to DAO.